have a bang. All the Mars and cars now, with your bag it up. Light up my card with a sweet one bliss. Someone flips me a bag it up. So, it's another one. It's another one, yeah. It's a full strand, yeah. Oh, it's another one. It's another one, yeah.
What's going on, people? Welcome back to the Stay Weighed In show. A bonus episode for you guys. So tomorrow will be a double upload for you guys that are going to be watching this. I'm joined by my man Ray. How you doing?
Listen, man, it's been a long weekend of great fights, and this special episode will let you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, man, but before we do that, again, a quick shout out to our sponsor, D-Rock Clothing. As always, guys, you know the score. If you want to support us, head over to their website. Get yourself 40% off by dropping in the promo code iBoxingHub24. And yeah, with all that being said, as you said, right top of the show, today the reason we've got a bonus episode is because we are recapping UFC 300. As Dana White built it, the best UFC card possible. So before we go into it, I want to just quickly ask you, taking into account the prelims and the main card, did it live up to the hype for you?
It exceeded the hype, and the BMF title being on the line stole the show.
Yeah, man. No, let's talk about the BMF title then. Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway, fight of the night. Wrapped all the bonuses for Max Holloway, got that insane knockout. Talking about the fight, so 5 rounds of pure action from my side of things. How did you see it?
It's just violence. Listen, here's the thing with Justin Gaethje fights. Normally, it's just going to be a storm, and win or lose, somebody's going to take a beating. And somehow Max Holloway managed to find a way to neutralize Gaethje in a way that many people haven't. And he still had to take a lot of licks in between that. But, you know, my guy, the blessed expressed, the best is best, and the blessed is blessed. Wait, what did he say?
I know what it is. I'm trying to think of it what it is, but it just runs off the tongue.
He said, it's the blessed express, and the best is blessed. Something like that. But yeah, we move.
We move, bro. I was gonna say, what do you think Gaethje was unlucky? And what I mean by that is because of how the fight then materialized. In the first round, getting that shot to his nose, basically breaking his nose, but also, again, for guys who may not watch UFC, Max Holloway, for a lot of guys, is the best boxer when it comes to the UFC. And he basically had a sitting target there for him to light up constantly, touching it, basically neutralizing Gaethje in a way where he can't perform because he has to look out for that particular nose. So as much as the fight did plan out for Max Holloway, was he a bit unlucky? Was Gaethje a bit unlucky because of what happened? Was that it was literally, I believe, the conclusion of the first round as well?
I think I can't call it lucky, unlucky, because the shot was made. It's different. If it's like, you know, Max went for a takedown, he sprawled and he broke his nose, then there's one thing, but it's like he hit him and that rearranged his face. And from then, it's just a consequence of the fight game where it's like you alluded to, when your nose is messed up, you can't breathe through your nose properly. You can't even blow your nose, even if you feel it getting clogged, because it messes up your eye if you blow your nose. And then it was just, you know, you're breathing heavy throughout your mouth. And then it's just something you have to be aware of, like you're breathing more. And then you got so many things you have to be aware of, that the person who's going to be on the offense, they're going to have more time to have more things to target because they know that you're worried. And Max took full advantage. But kudos to Justin Gaethje because he still fought back. Those leg kicks were thudding, and I don't know how Max just endured the pain.
Skinny legs as well. He's got skinny legs.
Yeah, he's got skinny legs. You saw by the end of the fight, like his whole leg was red and swollen, and he just kept on going forward and walking like it was nothing. And I even said he might be in a wheelchair temporarily just to take pressure off that leg because, yeah, that is inhumane amount of punishment his lead leg took. But, you know, the sacrifice was worth it.
Let's talk about the finish because, look, prior to this, we had the press conference where Dana said, yo, I'm going to put up the 300K bonuses for the finishers, back the night performance, etc. Max ran away with 600K extra.
Minimum.
Itself, the BMF title was on the line. He said He risked it all. I always said he risked it all by saying, let's stand and trade for the final 10 seconds. And with 1 second to go, he lands the shot, knocks out Justin Gaethje. Just talk to him about how much Max Holloway's stocks have just risen completely at this point.
Max Holloway 4.0. I'm putting all my money on those stocks. I'm buying it all, man. We're getting straight to the top. Topuria come outside. Featherweight title shot. Topuria looks shook in the crowd, although I also think he's socially awkward. But listen, we're going to run with the agenda that he looks shook. Topuria just had a look in his face. It's funny because obviously when Topuria was fighting for the title, he was saying a whole lot of things like, yeah, once I beat Volk, all these featherweights not going to get a deserved title shot. They're not worthy. And because he walked the walk, it was almost like we didn't like to talk, but we allow it because that boy stepped up and did what he said. But you can't ignore what Max just done at upper weight class against Justin Gaethje, who's, you know, one of the kings of violence. And Max Holloway put in a performance that was just like, a lot of us thought he was lamb going into the slaughter. And he went in there and he put on the performance of a lifetime, the finish of a lifetime. He pointed to the middle of the octagon and he said, let's swing it out for the final 10 seconds and let's see who's standing.
I was going to say it to you.
459.
Yeah, that's
that line.
Like, shout out to the guy that unfortunately had the Max by decision ticket.
1 second away. Wow.
I want to ask you this, because this is where I'm going to do a little crossover. So on one side, we've got AJ, who you said AJ 3.0. Your stocks are all in. Max Holloway,
all in.
Your stocks are all in. Who are your stocks? Who are you more confident with?
That's crazy. That's a very, I can't. It's even. Do you know why? Yeah, because it's like AJ, you've got an opponent in Usyk who's beaten him twice, but he looks rejuvenated. And then Max is an opponent where the opponent beat the guy that beat him 3 times. Even though I still feel like Max won the second fight, but that's a whole nother ball game. So it's 50-50. I can only share so many stocks, man. But you know, we're going straight to the top with this one.
I'm with you with both stocks, but if I'm going to be honest, I'm going to sit here and say I'm putting more on Max's stocks.
That's fair.
I think at the end of the year, we can see him world champion. I think we can see that also with AJ, but in a different way because of there's more belts on the line, so he can probably get a title. I think we will see Max as world champion. But moving on, it's funny because this wasn't even the main event.
This is the people's main event. No. Tell a lie. Funnily enough, there was 2 people's main event. This is like WrestleMania. There was 2 people's main event. There was the BMF title, and then there was Charlie Olives versus Arman Saryukian. That was also another people's main event.
Do you know what? Let's talk about that fight then, because we might as well get the people's main events out before we touch on the main event itself. Some people said, okay, Charles could have won. Some people said that he didn't win. What was your takeaway from the particular fight itself? Like, do you think it was a fair decision, and how the judges saw it?
It was fair that it could have gone either way. I think obviously judging the criteria is still a bit messed up, and it's like it's too subjective. Where it's like, do you rate the guy that gets the position and control, or do you rate the guy more who goes for the finish? Obviously, the people that are saying going for the finish gets you more points would say Charlie Olives deserves to win because obviously he went for the dart stroke near the end. He had that crazy guillotine in the first round where, my goodness,
how do you withstand that? Because it wasn't first. This is what I do. Like, just in case, when you get put in that choke, you will see people go within about 3 to 5 seconds. This choke was in for a long time. And
remember, Charles Oliveira's got the highest finishing rate in the UFC. Not only just finishing rate, he's got the highest submissions as well. Like, he's got both of them. So this is a guy that normally puts people away. And the way Saryukian toughed it out, I was just like, full credit to him because that was absolutely nuts. I was just watching it thinking, how have you just toughed it out there? When most people you're tapping out and it hurt me because I'm just like first Dustin Poirier, now this. But listen, shout out the jump the gilly movement that Dustin Poirier is leading, because obviously he's facing Islam next. And imagine the irony if Dustin Poirier gets the win over Islam with the guillotine, but I digress. But yeah, Charles, you know how he is. The guy's that's always going to go for a finish out. But I think the only thing that worked against him is sometimes he's too accepting of fighting off his back because of how good his submission game is. But I feel like the third round, he started to realize, all right, let me keep this standing more and use takedown defense, because you can't keep on relying on your submission game. If it's there, take it, but you can't force it. And I think in the third round, he realized, all right, let me not force it. And then he, stood it up more, used more defensive wrestling. And then when it came down to it, then he nearly got the submission in the end. But listen, man, it's still Charlie Olives. I ain't selling them stocks. It's still Team Oliveira. When he dyes his hair and goes Super Saiyan, we're still on board, man.
I was gonna say something like almost weekend going forward. Like, where do you see him in terms of the lightweight picture or something? Because, like I said, the title fight is happening at 302. Where do you see? Actually, let's say both guys. Let's go.
Yeah. Oliveira. Do you know what? Oliveira, I think either try a fun fight at welterweight, or Oliveira might stick around and want to fight for that BMF title.
I was going to say, that's the intrigue about the BMF title. Because it's a title that isn't a world title, but it's one of them like, if you got it...
Just exciting fighters. Yeah, just exciting fighters only.
You have that belt. So I hear it. Like, that avenue is always available for you. But, like, for the winner himself, like, now where does he put himself in the lightweight?
For anyone that's watched Dune 2, they'll get this reference. Arman Sayukian might be Lisan El Gaib. And to people that don't get the reference, it means he might be the chosen one. He might just be the chosen one to beat Makhachev, which is a tall task in itself. But obviously, they had a fight before. Makhachev got the best of it, but Sayukian showed a lot of potential, and that was on short notice. So now with a full camp behind him, Sayukian might just be the guy to beat Makhachev, and it's going to be very intriguing. I keep on saying Makhachev, like, it's not a given that Makhachev beats Poirier, despite what people think. Poirier might get his Bisping moment and, knock out Islam, which I hope, and I like Makhachev, but I'm a Dustin Poirier guy first. So I hope that Dustin finally gets his big win. It will be like the biggest, this will be bigger than, if Dustin manages to do it, yeah, dare I say it, this is bigger than Cody Rhodes being Roman Reigns.
Yeah, because it's real.
It's because it's real, and this is like real underdog sense. Like, remember, Cody didn't finish the story after one WrestleMania. This is Dustin's third title shot, because he's already, for me, is in the books. He's solidified as the best ever fighter that hasn't won a title. If Dustin somehow manages to pull this off, I might have tears in my eyes, man. But we digress. I think Arman should be next for the title shot. And if Islam manages to get past Dustin Poirier, I think Arman might just be the guy whose wrestling is just as good. Or he's shown that his grappling can be just as good to beat Dustin. Because anyone that can tough it out against Oliveira, you earn your spot to be called to be seen as the number one guy.
And then let's fast forward to the main event, because I say that there wasn't much of the main event itself. It ended within 3 minutes, I believe. Yeah, 3 minutes 40. Alex Pereira beating Jamahal Hill. Now, it was fully, the whole fight itself was just tiptoeing, and then the setup itself for the fight was a low shot. There's don't worry, I got this. And then, as we talked on the Top Kick Sports podcast as well, the handles that showed that vulnerability. And it's not a big shot. It is in terms of what it does. I feel like it's like a grace. After that, let me finish and job done. And then he left me with a meme as well. Alex Pereira right now headlining UFC 300. Under the spark of he
Wait, sorry, say the last part again.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what does it do for the UFC going forward in terms of what it will do?
I think Pereira, he's got Magomed Ankalaev next. It should be the rightful path, and I think that will solidify his run at light heavyweight. Because obviously we're saying on Calf Kick podcast, obviously John Jones is the greatest ever at light heavyweight, not even a debate. He's the greatest ever in the sport, let alone light heavyweight. So his run at light heavyweight it's not disputable. And then the second best light heavyweight ever, Daniel Cormier. For me, if Pereira wins against Magomed Ankalaev, I'm putting his legacy on top of Chuck Liddell's, man.
I'm going to put this out to you. DC and John Jones both did one thing. They got the title at light heavyweight and then pushed up to heavyweight. When the timing is correct, if it is correct, to then transition from a star to a superstar and a potential megastar, does Alex Pereira make that potential at one point in his career if the timing is right?
I think he can get some heavyweight wins, but whether he can win the belt at heavyweight, these new crop of heavyweights are different. These new crop of heavyweights, especially at the top, are different. So it'll be a very tall task, whereas Cormier was always, I think the difference is Cormier was always a heavyweight. He just cut down so that Kane could do his thing. And then he went back up and, we already know what Cormier done. Jones, for me, put on a bit too much weight. I don't think he needs to put on that much, but he took his time to fill out his body. He done what he needed to do against Garn. He's in his twilight, but I still think he's got a big couple wins in him before he bows out, before he gets beat. Pereira, it depends. I need to know how much he weighs outside the camp walking around. Because then if he balloons up to about 240 something, he can maybe do what he needs to do, but then I think he'll need to fill out more of his MMA game. He can't just be just a striker, because heavyweights, the dangerous thing about heavyweights that everyone can slug it out. That heavyweight can be dangerous, but heavyweight is just you'd be going up against a guy like Tai Tuivasa and you try to swing out of him, and if he touches your chin wrong, you're going on the floor. So it'll be interesting. He needs a test drive against an unranked heavyweight first before anything.
Nah, I hear that. I was going to say, in terms of the rest of the show, any little standouts for you that you want to just quickly go over?
Yuri Prohaska is an absolute madman. An absolute madman who I don't know if he'll get the belt again because of how mad he fights. But if you want entertainment, Yuri Prohaska, and the worst thing is, I think he was saying he was fueled by the fact that Ratchett tried to say that he's not a samurai in spirit.
I love that speech at the end.
And he seemed so offended. He was just you don't think I live by Bushido code? I remember there was footage online going around of people saying all that stuff that Jiri shows on his socials and everything is not made up. This guy in the middle of the morning was just standing outside looking at the UFC poster in Vegas.
I heard about this. That he was just stood up there. It was super late at night.
I saw one tweet and it said the funniest thing, it goes, back in the day, Yuri Prohaska is the guy that'll go to your village, burn it down, and go and do a painting after. That guy he's wired to fight. That's what he is. He's literally, but even the way he lives outside of fighting, apparently he does a lot of how do I say it? Yeah, he lives a very rural life. So yeah, Yuri Prohaska, that was my other stand-up performance. That guy is just an absolute just wild man, to put it politely.
You know what I loved about that fight? it was the fact that there was points in the way he was losing, and then he comes back, and again, like you said, light heavyweight, you can get hit, and when you get hit, it's you stay hit as well, and he felt that clip. It was
That's the only thing, to be fair though, that's the only thing I don't like about him. I do not like how he keeps on fighting with his hands down. He does it way too much for my liking. He just like, it's almost like he needs it. He needs that wild vulnerability to activate him. But obviously against Pereira, it showed against the wrong guy, you're getting clipped and put down. But it makes for an entertaining fight. But he still, I think for longevity, he needs to find a way to be the wild man that he is without being as defensively vulnerable.
I hear it. Like I said, guys, this is the first time we're going to drop some UFC content. If you do like this type of stuff, we're going to try to bring it out a bit more frequently, cover any major cards, any sort of major events that happen. UFC Manchester, not officially confirmed, but basically confirmed from Dana White as well. So hopefully get some content around that. As always, guys, if you do enjoy the content, drop a like, share, subscribe. Again, the promo code iBoxingHub24. Go to D-Rock's website, get yourself some cool stuff, and the promo code to support our channel. And a few words from yourself, Ray?
Listen, man, UFC 300, even if you're not a boxing fan, you gotta love it.
Nah, I hear that. As always, guys, from myself, from Ray, stay weighted.